Wagwan. It's been quite a while since I made my last ASMR video of giving you a prostate exam, but it's currently quarter to 10 on a Sunday night, and I'm in work, loving life. I don't work weekends, I don't work night shifts, but here we are. We grow, we overcome. But yeah, no, I am currently trying to fundraise to go back to Ukraine, taking 4x4s for humanitarian aid. So before anything else, if you would, I think I'll have probably remembered to put a link below to my fundraiser. So, you know, if you're not an awful person, a terrible person, you'd go donate or share this with your family. I am looking for sponsors for a truck, so if you want to put your name, a friend's name, a company's name is actually the main purpose. If you want to put a company's name across a truck, they'll be driving through 7 countries over probably 3 days, maybe more, depending on how things go. There'll be lots of social media posts, there'll be high quality photography, videos taken on the GoPro I'm using now. Fuck it, I'll make an ASMR video shouting you out if you sponsor it. Altogether, I'm looking for about $3,000 as a starting point. Any more, fucking brilliant. You'll notice if you look at the fundraiser, it's already on 3.5, but that's from my last trip. So for this trip, that needs to get up to about 6.5k. I think it was on. Yeah, it's on like 3,447 or something like that. But yeah, no, any help with that is greatly appreciated. I was going to make negative affirmations, but I haven't written anything. So when I started to do it, I got about a minute in. Maybe I'll put that like here. I got a minute in and just kind of ran out of things to say. There's only so many ways you can call someone worthless without having to think about it and make notes. So I just thought I'd give a general life update, I guess. When I recorded the previous one, I was living somewhere else. I was living on the opposite coast. Not going to dox myself and say what coast I live on now, other than it's a coastal area. Work in engineering, which I'm at a different, it's not even a uni, I'm at a college doing a uni course, which is really fun. I've got an exam on Thursday, and this is actually procrastination for the exam. Just bought a house, which is a fucking nightmare. Biggest con you'll ever get told is that like buying a house is a really good idea, because I've just bought one. I now need to replace a bath, so I'm learning to do that. Getting a grant for some insulation and a heat pump, so hopefully that'll be a bit cheaper than it would be, because I woke up the other day in minus conditions in my bedroom, which is like fucking less than peak. Yeah, no, things are pretty chill. Drive a Lexus and a Ford Fiesta at the moment. They both want bits doing. I've done my first track day since then, which was that was sick. I'm just kind of waffling, honestly. I'm watching the time go up on the GoPro and just seeing what the crack is. I work in 3D printing at the moment, in metal. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I can't exactly show you what we do because of the nature of it, but it's pretty cool. I've just been setting a machine up. I don't know how much this picks up, but there is a compressor running and a machine running, and it is quite noisy. Down here I have got I bought this thinking it was the Esco RS Turbo wheel set. I have a set of them because this is a Ronald wheel from the 80s. I can't remember when the RS Turbo came out, but what I later discovered after posting in a group thinking I'd paid £100 for these. They did have paint on originally, but it was a bit bit naff. But the RS Turbo wheels sell for quite a lot, being rare. Turns out I'd actually just bought a regular Sierra wheel, still made by Ronald, but this is from a Sierra 4x4. The difference being the RS Turbo wheels were 15-inch, these are 14s, and they're pretty much worthless. So I am going to make them into a table, but I've sat with them for nearly 2 years now. In fact, the house I bought is on the same estate I bought these for, so I might just go smash up the fella's house for scamming me like that. I don't know if they make any good noise. Don't know if that even picks up. Yeah, no, I have a few more tattoos. I've not done a whole lot of interesting stuff, in all honesty, other than I drove to Ukraine. For a brief period I worked on roll cages, making roll cages. Didn't enter well there. Then I worked in a restaurant for a bit after that. There's a stopgap. Then I worked on wind turbines. I worked on wind turbines for a few months. That was really fun, but the longevity of working outdoors in manual labour, seeing my boss, who was maybe in his 40s, just like groaning, picking stuff up, and you just think, possibly not. But I've always enjoyed like design engineering and the more metal side of engineering. And this is like the first time I've worked in like a fancy company where you've got to follow properly follow procedures from a standpoint of ISOs and various other things like that, whereas I've worked in motorsport fabrication type places where it's a bit more relaxed, a bit more backstreet, I guess. Whereas here I have to wear a respirator to work, which is, I mean, it's fine. It's just different when you're used to doing silly things and breathing in horrific fumes. Yeah, actually, this side the wheel looks a bit nice. Oh, bollocks, that's going to be dead loud. Binaural ASMR, giving you a reach around. I've got a notepad file on my phone just full of stupid ideas I came up with. So I need to do some of them at some point, but it's getting the time. I keep meaning to reboot this and start making more stuff, but every time I think about it I just completely forget. But I've now stolen the work, well, not stolen, I've borrowed the Works GoPro. So I'll try and make more. When I've got my garage sorted at home, there might be some more car related content, just purely because I absolutely bum off cars. Loving life. What else is there? I briefly worked for a company that did staging. That was pretty interesting. That was doing the electronic control cabinets. I basically was just assembling, rewiring them. I was pretty terrible, as I'm sure my colleagues would have attested to. Just like, I'm a pretty stupid person for like just leaving something a little loose or what have you. Just, I suppose clumsy is probably the word. Forgetful, absent-minded, yada yada yada, the list goes on. But no, that was pretty sick. Left on good terms there, but moved over to where I am now. I started working in motorsport from there. I must have done something interesting. No, I still enjoy just doing prank calls, ringing people, being a twat. Nothing better than going online, finding people with mobile numbers at like 3 in the morning, giving them a ring, waking them up. Yeah, no, just absolutely knackered. I really can't be bothered revising for the exam I've got because it's a lot of effort, and I'm terrible at maths, and I lost my notebook with all my revision notes in, which is pretty fucking smart, but I think that might be in a 4x4 in Ukraine, which is less than ideal, but if you donate to that donor box, if you donate on that, I might be able to go get my revision notes, and then I might be able to revise when I've already done the exam. But still, that's not the point. Hell yeah. We move, we grow. I got this cool scar. I was at USC Ultimate Streetcar at Santa Pod. The company I was working for, we had a company dildo, as you do, big 10-inch meaty guy, called Simon. And when we were there, I was slightly under the influence, to say the least. And we had Simon suction cupped onto the side of the work van. And in my absolute genius state, I thought, I'm gonna really go for it, give him a full-on whack, and try punch him. And technically, the dildo didn't give me the scar. What gave me the scar was hitting the van light instead of hitting the dildo. But it did a good job splitting my knuckle. Yeah, that was really funny time. Just trying to think of stories off the top of my head, because I've already started recording, so it's kind of too late to stop, and I want to get to that. I'm at 10 minutes now. Oh no, 12 minutes. So I reckon I can probably get to 20 minutes if I just find something that I've done recently that I can talk about a lot. I can talk about my previous trip to Ukraine, because that is the point of this video. So last time we went, it was sponsored by my work. They stick it up the truck, which is what I'm looking for another company to do. So if you know any companies that want a sticker up a truck, even if you're not from England, message me. So I'm up north, went down to Oxford to meet the lads from Driving Ukraine, because that's who I was doing this drive with. I have no connection to Ukraine in terms of I've got no family there. I've never been there. Don't know anyone. I know one person from Ukraine vaguely from secondary school. Never kept in touch with them after school, but or even outside of school. I don't even know if I spoke to them in school. But I was in the gym. Probably not really doing a whole lot, but scrolling on my phone, and saw that they wanted drivers. So I applied. And I think it was the week before the November convoy went. So they go at the end of every month. And I applied, and I said I wouldn't be able to fundraise for the November one because I only had a week, but I'll do it for the December one, and I can get the money. So yeah, I was messaging around, and then I got my work to sponsor me, and they've sponsored me a go. So the week before going was pretty mental. So on the Monday I was working in Bradford, then on the Monday night I was flying to Berlin from Manchester to do some work in Berlin with one of the machine providers that we use. Then I was there till Wednesday, got back Wednesday about 11:30 at night, got home about 2 a.m, went to sleep for a few hours, then I had to get up at I got up at 6:30, got a train to go sign something for buying my house. Went from there to work to pick some parts up. Then I got a train to Oxford, and I was in Oxford Thursday and Friday. Then I got a train from where I was, a different part of Oxford, to Banbury. Then met all the Driving Ukraine guys on the Friday night at the Dennington Arms. Had a few pints, got to know everyone a little bit. Up early doors Saturday, and we were stickering up all the trucks at 7ish. Set off at about 7:30 to go to Dover. It was a really good trip, honestly. It was possibly one of the most fun. Well, I mean, it was incredibly fun. Obviously, I'm not going to say the most fun thing I've ever done, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's driving for 3 days, but no, it was incredibly good. Lovely bunch of people, great team at Driving Ukraine, all lovely lads, super helpful. Everything that needed doing was taken care of. Obviously, you encounter things you can't help. So we drove the first day. We drove Oxford to Dortmund, but at the at the border for getting on the ferry from Dover to Calais, we didn't realise that the French customs guys had stamped our passports in 2025. So we'd left Dover apparently on the 12th of December 2025. This comes back to haunt us later on. Continued the drive, quick stop in the Netherlands, then on to Dortmund for the evening. So it's a fairly long day. I think it was probably about 7 till 9, 7 in the morning till about probably about 8ish at night. Sometime on the ferry, people sleeping in the car and stuff on the way. Just getting to know everyone. It's if you've worked in a van, you'll know about just chatting absolute shite in a very short space of time. You get to know people quickly, and you find out hearing just funny stories from each other about how different people have lived. Got into Germany, went for some food, had a couple of drinks, went to bed, ready for an early start the next day, which we were doing. I'm going to butcher this, so it's Dortmund to Katowice, between Krakow and, where is it? Krakow and, I don't even know how to pronounce the other place. In Poland, basically. This was, I think it worked out about 1,000 kilometres. Lovely drive, fairly straightforward day, just nailing the miles down. Stopped a couple of times for drinks, food, usual stuff. I got out of the truck I was in that I was sponsored, my sponsored truck, to get in a Freelander, so I could then take photos of the truck I was in, the sponsored truck, to use for my company. Made the mistake at the services of I had the keys for the sponsored truck when I got into the Freelander. So driving down the slip road out the services, someone on the radio just goes, "Oh, Harry, have you still got the Hilux keys?" Sure enough, I had them, so I had to run down the hard shoulder of the autobahn back to the services to hand over the keys. Fun experience watching cars coming past at 100 and something mile an hour. That was a fairly straightforward day. We got to the hotel for the night. Food, vodka. I went for a walk around the town at night. Pretty cold, but it was dark, couldn't see much. Then the drive from where we were staying in Poland to Lviv in Ukraine was, I think it was maybe about 400 kilometres, so it was meant to be a short day. So we drive through Poland absolutely fine. Dead windy day, some of our travelling companions realised after about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour of driving, that they'd left their luggage in the hotel, so they had to turn around, go back and get it. The car I was in and two of the other cars, we stopped at a services near the border just to let them catch up about 10 minutes away. We were there for an hour and a bit because when they had turned around, they missed the exit on the motorway, so they had to turn around again. We all found it quite funny. I don't think it would have changed what's about to happen, but we got to the Polish border eventually. Probably early-ish in the afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock. Then as we waited, it's quite a big queue because there's so many people doing evacuations or offering humanitarian aid. There were German cars, English cars, any country in Europe really. I know I've only named 2, but cars from all over just doing similar trips. So many people helping out. It's a beautiful thing to see, really. But we pulled up to the border. 3 of the cars got through. Then the car I was in, they checked our passports, mine and the other lad I was with, and they noticed the 2025 stamp. But I'm pretty sure the other 3 cars also had the same stamp because we all went through the same lane to get on the ferry. And that turned into sitting in the car for about 3 hours at the Polish border just to get into Ukraine. Not even to get into Ukraine, just to get out of Poland. That was just painful. But one of those things, and it makes for it's not even really a funny story, it's just a bit boring. But we then had to go to the Ukrainian side to get into Ukraine. It's just them going through the paperwork, the V5 and whatnot for the truck. And then it was on into Lviv for the evening. We must have got there about 10 o'clock, so pretty late on. We went to the workshop where the driving Ukraine lads work, and I think they sponsor and do a lot of stuff with this particular garage, who then paint and modify the trucks ready to go to the front. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? My throat is... Then spent the rest of the week, because we arrived on a Monday, we just were doing touristy stuff. We went to the Field of Mars, which is the war memorial, and that was fucking brutal to see. Like, it's just, yeah, like war graves have never been something that's like affected me. It's something like you look at and you think, yeah, it's World War II, what do you expect? But you see this and it's there's photos of every single person that's died. They're all like beautifully taken care of graves. There's people there. There's pre-dug graves just sort of waiting to be filled, and that is possibly the most heartbreaking thing to see, just knowing that in the next few days they're going to be full. It sounds like I'm sort of holding back tears now, but I'm not. But my throat's just got fucked. But yeah, just doing touristy stuff for the rest of the week. And, Lviv's a city that functions. It's a city full of life. People out drinking, people going to coffee shops, just everything you expect really. Mackey's is still open, obviously. Can't kill a Mackey's. Yeah, the only reminder was that it's sort of wartime is when we were leaving. We did hear an air raid alarm go off, but in Lviv it's not a massively well. It's every few days. I've still got the air raid thing set up, and I will say, like, obviously I can't speak for any Ukrainians or whatnot. This is just what I experienced, but I've the Ukrainian that I've been speaking to, it's just all they can do is just keep living. If their take on it is, if everyone that's not fighting just stays at home sad, everyone that died has died in vain. So they might as well make the most of their freedom and what the soldiers are fighting for. Just keep living. But yeah, no, it was a really good trip, and I really want to go again. I've hit 25 minutes. I fucking knew that'd work. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, I better have put the link in. I better have remembered that when I'm making a description for this. Click the link. Done it. If your gaffer or something will sponsor a truck. If you've got a truck going cheap or even better free, message me. I will take your trucks.